so I take off to the tropics, where most of the birds that spend the summer here also take off to, and okay, so they, so I follow those birds down, and as you might know, the tropics and the rainforest of Central and South America really host a stunning diversity of species, both plant and animal. And just in my small study area in Belize, there are over 300 species of birds during the winter. So these are some of the most common birds on the screen here occurring at my study site. And my job down there is basically to identify what species are there and to look at how those numbers of birds changes across the entire park. And of course, the vegetation is very dense. It can be difficult to actually see birds, but you can be sure that eventually they're going to vocalize. They're going to make some sound. They're going to sing a song. And certainly in the morning, around sunrise, they reliably sing, at least sometimes of the year. So, it may take hours to get to a single site, and I'm surveying many sites across the entire park. So that's kind of where the idea of autonomous recording units comes into play. Autonomous recording units, or ARUs, they're just, kind of simple automated audio recorders, and they can be programmed to record at different times. They're usually weather resistant and also, have battery power to last for weeks or even a month or more. The problem is that they cost easily several $100s or often over $1,000. So that was kind of part of the motivation that led me to try to develop something that was a little bit more affordable, but equally effective. So last year, I started with just something very simple. This is a waterproof box that's no longer used by an electricity co-op in my hometown. So I got a few of these boxes, and I put a hole in them, and basically just affixed an external microphone covered with this waterproof shield, and put just an Olympus recorder inside. And that more or less worked, but the battery life wasn't good. I could not program the units just to record at sunrise like I needed them to. And there was no way to kind of record additional data. So on the screen is kind of a prototype shot of what the inside looks like using the Arduino, which we've talked a little bit about already. And, they're very versatile, but, the power isn't really there to record very high quality audio. So that's why I used kind of an external separate Olympus recorder. Currently with this configuration, there's a clock with a battery that will activate the unit at sunrise, and it's fairly simple to program the Arduino to power on at sunrise, and that's just a simple calculation that can be done for basically any place on Earth as long as you know the date. And also there's an external power source here, and a remote control unit for the Olympus. And that was probably the most complicated part, was decoding the signals coming to the Olympus manufactured unit. But once that was done, the Arduino acted as a remote control, and once the components were on, it was just a matter of configuring that alarm. And with the alarm, that conserves battery power and allows us to kind of explore what we need to. The other great thing about Arduinos is that there are a lot of different sensors available and compatible with their boards, and it'd be very simple to add sensors like temperature and humidity. Both of those variables are known to kind of affect the activity of birds. So it'd be good to have that data. Obviously, we'd be data logging that, and it'd be interesting to add just LED codes so we know when the batteries need to be changed or if there's some other problem that might not be apparent just by looking at the device. And finally, sometimes during really heavy rain or during certain times of year, there are very loud insect outbreaks. It'd be nice just to deactivate the unit whenever there's very loud noise, and that could just be done with a decibel meter. So, as we've seen with a lot of different projects here, the possibilities are kind of endless, but hopefully for this project, it'll continue to be a work in progress. Questions? Yeah.
What did you use, or what was your technique to code that signals coming from the Olympus?
So, thankfully, there was kind of a maker effort that appeared on one of those Kickstarter campaigns to actually produce a little software program that you can load on an Arduino that will more or less decode everything for you. So it'd be just a matter of configuring the IR receiver and tweaking a few other things to come up with the code, which you basically just have to figure out what length the string is, and then once you know if it's like 32 bits or whatever, you can then figure out what exactly the code is. Yeah.
I'm a little confused.
Yes.
I thought with the Olympus that the Arduino was just a remote control. You weren't sending data back from the Olympus to the Arduino, were you?
So no.
Right.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
extremely
that was
complicated.
the recorder.
Right,
Right.
and
The
that's what I
Arduino
have
had
to have.
smarts.
Exactly.
And after you collected this data,
Mhm.
did you do anything interesting with the recordings? Were you able to automatically identify the birds?
So there's a lot of work happening in that area, and in fact, that's one of the things I didn't mention. There's just been an explosion of interest in this type of technology, not only for birds, but for frogs and insects and all kinds of things. So there's a lot happening. A lot of people are working on tools to analyze recordings, and as long as they're of high enough quality and recorded in a standardized way, they should be robust enough to pass the test of science. So the tools are out there or in progress of coming out. But when it takes hours, for me just to get to a site, the time it takes to listen to a recording is just a drop in the bucket. So.
One other thought, I'm curious what you thought about it. If you had multiple recorders and they were time synced really well, you might be able to also geolocate where the birds were.
Actually, I did a presentation earlier today about a statistical method that can do exactly that. If you have about, a grid of recorders, you can use those just like traps that actually capture animals and actually look at population densities and other things. Yeah, so the potential's there. All we need is really affordable open source solutions so researchers can afford to put 20 out in the field. Thanks.
Thanks.